you. Hello, welcome back to the third episode of Tiny Bunny. We're still on chapter 2. Give me a second. Yes. Okay, we're exactly where we left off. I'm just kind of cutting the episodes because they're a little bit too long otherwise. Okay, so just got to school, had a weird encounter with a girl. This girl was pointed out for some reason, the teacher was, and the redhead kid that's a bully. But we just got into class, the teacher's annoyed at us, and I'm the transfer student. I was told to come here. The snowy forest trail was winding in front of my eyes. The pines rustled, but it didn't sound predatory anymore. Okay, well. She buried herself in the register and flicked through the pages. Your last name? Petrov. Huh? What are you mumbling there? Say it clearly. Petrov. You're not on the list. She measured me with a long and heavy stare, as if trying to see if I was lying. I wanted to sink through the floor. Hazy faces observed all of that from the left. The classroom breathed and snorted in unison, like a living organism, like a dangerous beast. Are you sure? I don't have you in my register. My knees chose the worst time to start shaking, and I felt dizzy. I clutched my fist so hard my knuckles became white. They told me to come to classroom 204 to ask for Lilia Pavlovna, class 6C. Apparently, everyone in the classroom took my words for some sort of joke because they were all laughing. What's wrong with the school? The classroom fell silent. The kids hid their smirks for a better occasion. Why do we hire so many interns? They all know how to put lipstick all over their bulging lips, but when it comes to real problems, I have to solve everything. Okay. Someone's fucking, man. How did they send you here without any proper paperwork? Ugh, we've had the same thing happen so many times already. Wait here, I'll be back. After I have a little chat with them. Well, at least she's mad at them now, which is fair, but not at him. The teacher flew past me, mumbling something to herself in righteous anger, and I was left standing at the center of the classroom. Like a convict in front of a firing squad, I lowered my gaze, feeling the mocking stares from all around the classroom directed at me. They prickled my skin, dancing on it like laser sights. Oh. Once again, I imagined running far away from this place, fighting the clawy wind soaring high above the pines in one long jump, with the wind in my back as my only companion. The eyes of my future classmates were asking, this new boy, is he one of us or an outsider? Somebody whispered something and stifled laughter rolled through the classroom. Wipe the board. It was easy to guess who was the main prankster here. Hey, Four Eyes, are you not only blind but also deaf? I said wipe the board. My knees weren't the only shaking part of my body anymore. I was trembling from head to toe, and I prayed for the teacher to come back soon. My prayers were answered by the powers that be. And what should I do with you now? Where will you sit? Oh well, you can sit with Semyon, I guess? He's alone anyway. No way. The fatso put his backpack on the seat beside him in defiance, scratching his belly and smirked. Are you back to your old tricks? Should I call your grandma here again? The classroom went silent. And what's she gonna do? I'll be the one to do something if she doesn't. Put away your backpack now. Semyon didn't move a muscle. He started studying the portraits of riders on the wall, looking bored. I needed to do something, to resolve this somehow, to save myself. I cleared my throat and continued in a stifled voice that sounded nothing like me. I can sit in the last row. I think there's a free seat. The teacher snorted loudly. She looked at me, then at Semyon, then back at me. Fine, go there for now. And you, Barburin, I'll have a talk with you later. Come to me after classes. You'll be on cleaning duty. Got it? Semyon forced out a twisted smile. Juicy pimples were growing on the tip of his nose, ripe for the taking. Ugh. Do not press your pimples. Don't do it. Just leave it alone. I walked carefully, afraid to stumble and fall, causing another outburst of laughter from everyone. I took my seat at the back, at the last table, where I was met with a pile of old posters. The outcasts took their seat and the class was ready to start. Now this is settled, let's start the class. Today's theme is traditions of Russian and international literature in uh, Zoshenkos? Soshenkos. So I'm butchering that. Don't lie. The Fossil turned back to me. His stare informed me of the coming days, weeks, and months of bullying. I've got my eyes on you, said his watery look. Should have his eyes on himself. What is that? After just a couple of periods, I had already noticed a huge yellow spit stain in my notebook. Then, at the cafeteria, the Semyon accidentally spilled a glass of compote on me. A dessert drink brewed from a mix of dry fruit and berries. Oh. And then he flailed his hands around after exiting the toilet so some of the liquid from his hands would get on me. Ew. Just before the final period for today, Semyon pushed me into a buzzing crowds of girls from our class. Oh no! They made way, cursing, but I couldn't hold my balance and ended up ramming my face into the girl I took for the class rep before, right in her chest. Yep, that's... oh god. Ow. I immediately stepped back, dying from embarrassment. I'm sorry, are you alright? Then she suddenly put her hands on her hips. Will you look at him? Groping me in front of everyone. I'll tell my mom. They'll expel you, pervert. There was some sort of sadistic pleasure in her eyes, as if she was a child who was about to put a lit-up match to the Schaefer beetle. I didn't mean to. He pushed me. We all saw that, you know. No blind among us. She stared at my glasses while showing me a creepy smile. I started to fume on the inside, but Semyon laughter cooled my head. I pushed you. You sure? He swaggered up to me, enveloping me in a smell of sunflower seeds and rotting teeth, and then pushed me to the ground. Like this, huh? What you gonna do now? Listen. I don't advocate violence against children. But sometimes. The bully towered over me, as if saying, come on, hit me, let me see you try. I would be in a lot of trouble if I do it, aren't I? Can I save, like, real quick? Is this kid a lot bigger than me? I can get a hit in, right? Hey, yo, fuck it. Listen, you. My throat went dry, my lips were moving on their own, and my voice was akin to a stifled squeal. Great. Semyon wore a mocking smile. Go on, Four Eyes. Why did you stop? We're all waiting. If you ever touch me again. Semyon slowly stuck out a finger and poked my forehead. I did. So what? If you ever do it again... Here. Once more. And again. And again. He was poking with his finger so hard that my head tilted backwards. I must not cry, or I'll be done for. What will a wimp like you do to me? My vision went blurry. My soul tore off from the floor. I rushed forward and threw a random punch without looking. Nice. What I saw when I opened my eyes was beautiful and horrifying at the same time. Yeah. Oh no. Samuel was holding... No pain. Oh, nice. I'm gonna die. Samuel was holding his ear and blinking in amazement. Was I the first person to rebel against his absolute rule? Oh! I needed to run, but I was already surrounded by his croonies. Lilia Pavlovna. Semyon's cheek grew even redder and his pimples even wider, like the heads of larvae. Ugh. But a smile flashed on his face that was only noticed among his comrades. He got really close to me, the smell of rotten teeth washing over me. You are fucking done. His voice was evil and dangerous, like someone tore off the lid from a kettle with boiling fat. I was waiting to get hit, counting the thumps of my heart and guessing where his fist will go. The solar plexus, the jaw, the nose. But he just turned around and walked off. That's not good. A thought, cold and somber and extremely rational, popped up in my head. I'm going to get killed today. I was late to leave the school after classes on purpose. Semyon didn't attend the last period, so I was hopeful. What if he decided to dodge the cleaning duty and ran home, forgetting all about me? Doubtful. I heaved a sigh of relief, like someone on death row whose execution was delayed by a day. But I didn't let myself forget his tone, his vengeful gaze, and his scary, electrified smirk. While the other students were leaving the school, laughing loudly, I was pretending to skim through my books near a window. I was staring outside, nervous. Semyon was nowhere to be found in the front yard or near the school gate. I didn't really believe I was this lucky, so I decided to be extra cautious and stayed for some more time in a corridor that was gradually getting less crowded. All of the bustle moved to the first floor. There was a skeleton peeking out of the biology classroom. Some jokesters put a cap with the American condor on its head. The sound of running water were coming from the bathroom. I was the only person left in the whole school. I'm not alone, a sudden thought came to mind. I remembered the missing boy. His portrait was on the notice board near the schedule. I remembered his smile, him looking at me, and the fact that he's most likely already dead. Hello? I shuddered and turned around. Oh, instrument. At first, my eyes stumbled upon the black violin case, and then I noticed a girl from my class was holding it. Oh, she's cute. She sat in the first row of the second column. I could swear I caught her looking at me a couple of times, and I was sneaking glances at her myself. Sometimes it just feels nice to look at something pretty, the spring, the sky, or a girl that's not in the crowd that laughs at Semyon's jokes. And she wasn't whispering the dirty laundry of other people to Katya. She spent all the breaks just like me, staying in the classroom or looking in the window or drawing something in her green notebook. Hello. I turned red and pretended I was studying the pattern on the wooden floor. It was cool, the way you hit him. Oh? Am I about to die? It was just an accident, almost. I started shoving books in my backpack to at least put something in my hands. Semyon wasn't like that before. He also transferred here just recently. His grandma told me that it almost felt like he went mad. Even the upperclassmen fear Semyon, did you know? But you're different. You're brave. I mumbled in reply. Yeah, right, me brave. A hero that has been standing around in the hallway to avoid a beating. The girl looked at me with her clear, attentive eyes. Do you live over the river? In that wooden house? Yeah. Must be scary living there. And you also have to cross the forest. I wouldn't be able to do that. I shivered at the mention of the forest. I thought of intertwining branches, of snake-like trails, of endless darkness that spread like mold among the crooked trees. So I straight up lied. It's not that scary. What's so scary about it for you? She smiled after a brief pause, as if brushing off a daydream. Well, actually, never mind. My name is Paulina, by the way, and I'm Anton. I already know that. Hey, Anton. She stumbled as if trying to decide whether she should continue. What are you doing after school? Getting my ass kicked. My chest felt prickly after her innocent question, yet somehow it felt pleasant. Nothing much. I stumbled and didn't finish my sentence. Are you a fox girl? Alyssa's predatory smile flashed in front of my eyes. Her playful eyes in the slits of the mask were probably just a product of my imagination, though. What if the fox girl is waiting for me after the school, or was it another of her weird jokes? I wonder if she's hiding a big red tail under her coat. I suddenly got covered with beads of sweat like after PE class. I wanted to take a shower, as if just thinking of the foxy girl made me dirty, soiled my clothes, lured me into the forest's embrace. I have a violin lesson and then I'll be free. My grandpa hired me a private tutor. Our music teacher is a violinist and he doesn't have anyone to teach here except for me. She waved her free hand in the air, imitating the movement of a bow on violin strings. I could almost hear the music. It chased Alyssa out of my head. I looked at Paulina's lip, catching her every word, and was frozen from the unusual sensation. They were warm and soothing and tingly. It felt like I was very small, and the feelings were immense, and they couldn't fit inside me. They say there's a serial killer on the loose in the village. Normally, Grandpa would escort me home from school, but he's been sick lately. I snuck a glance at Vova's photo. Does the picture get distorted? I think it does. I'm not sure. His eyeballs were studying me. His lips were wearing black lipstick, just like the portrait on a gravestone. I mean, I'm not a coward. It's just, I think I'll be safer together with you. Will you go home with me, Anton? There it was, finally. Everything that I read about in the adventure books, everything that I dreamt about was seeping into my life. A mysterious crime, a beautiful stranger, and a heroic duel. A duel. Thinking of Samuel instantly sobered me up, turned me back to earth, and it started shaking under my feet like a deck of a ship. If only I could rise to the occasion in front of Polina. Because no matter how brave I was trying to act, it was obvious for both of us that I wouldn't be able to stand a chance against a big guy like that. And him knocking me out won't even be able the worst of it. Won't even be able the worst. That's not correct. Okay. The worst part is that Polina will see all of that, and she'll laugh at me like everybody else. No, I don't think anyone needs to see me in such a shameful state. I doubt I'll be able to today. You know, Simon is waiting for me outside. I need to deal with him one-on-one like a man. Nonsense. Polina brushed off some hair off her forehead and I sensed a weak aroma of blackberry. Polina was like water when you were thirsty. You gulp it down and still wanted more. I remember the summer evenings at the country house. The fire's pungent smoke, the berries hanging over a fence from the neighbors, and a soft cover of pine needles under my soles. Those few peaceful days when I felt completely safe. My mom, resting in the hammock, my dad putting meat on a skewer. Could have I foreseen the upcoming catastrophe in the crackle of the coals, in our parents' laughs, in the smell of the fleeting July? Could I have seen how fragile that world was? Do you really think that Savage will give you a fair fight? No. He'll just swarm you with his friends without giving you a chance to catch a breath. Polina suddenly flashed a devious smile. But if we go together, they will be put off. I'm not only the first violinist of this village, I'm also a girl. I've heard from a delinquent I know that he'll never attack someone when there's a girl around. Can you imagine? They have this weird code of honor. A delinquent you know? I thought, worried. Is he better than me? Taller? More handsome? My guy does not have his priorities straight right now. Okay, I have to go to music class. She made a couple of steps and stopped. Amazing, Paulina didn't look like those beauties from the magazine posters or the actresses from the movies. But in the flickering light of the ceiling lamp, she looked much more alluring. Can you play anything? My parents bought me a guitar a couple of years ago. I immediately remembered my meager attempts at making music. AM, EM, change, we're all waiting for change. Soy's song echoed my thoughts and my desire to change something. Viktor Tsoy, a singer and frontman of popular Soviet rock band Kino, that played a mix of new wave and post-punk. Their hit song, Peremen, Changes, is one of the most popular rock tracks of the new Russian era. Died in a car accident. Oh, okay. The guitar got lost somewhere, as if refusing to move to the old house near the forest. I think my parents gave it away to someone that needed it more. I don't, sadly. A pity. Oh well, I'll be going. Bye. And she gone. Her shout was captured by the loud echo. Her shoes also echoed through the school hallways. Bye. I wasn't sure if Polina heard me. I looked out the window again. The schoolyard was empty, just a couple of grade schoolers throwing snowballs at each other. Nobody who looked like the hulking Semyon with his croonies. This was giving me hope. What should I do? Polina could become my friend, the first one in this new place. And besides, she may be in real danger of meeting a killer and I'll be her defender, her knight. And even though my inner voice was hesitant, I whispered about running away from the killers lurking in the woods at night. Polina was worth the risk. But the red-cunning fox was also intriguing. She promised me to help look for Vova, and this will bring me a reward. More money will almost guarantee peace in my family. Gifts for Olya. I imagine my sister, happy like those girls who get prizes from Supanev in the finest hours. Is that like Jeopardy or something? A Soviet and Russian TV host, the most prolific showman of the Russian kids' TV in the 90s. He hosted teen quizzes as well as computer entertainment shows. Died on December 8th, 2001 when he crashed his snowmobile into a river pier. Jesus. She'll be dancing with the famous singers, maybe a new popular boy band like Ivanushki International. Mom and Dad hugging in the Ostankino Pavilion. And then all of us going to Disneyland. I don't think... Oh. Oh, that's really cool. I don't think all of that is going to happen if you go that route, my dude. I kind of want to... Safest bet is the musician girl, right? Safest bet is going with the girl. Probably. Okay, you know what? Let's just pick this one. I'll get back and pick that one later. Snow danced in the air outside the window, following the rhythm of the music that was flowing from around the corner. I jumped off the windowsill and started walking along the hallway, curiosity eating away at me. The half an hour I'd spent here waiting crawled at a snail's pace. I wanted to see Paulina again. The music became louder. It streamed out of the half open door at the far end of the corridor. My music taste was limited to Letov? Chef? Oh my god. I am so sorry for anyone who's Russian and hears me say these names because I'm butchering all of them. The timeless classics and pop songs I saw on TV, along with music videos that would sometimes be put on tapes as teasers before a movie. But this violin melody captivated me. It felt like a master woodcutter working with delicate wood, a fragile crystal toy, a gust of warm wind. I pressed my cheek against the doorway. Paulina was hiding from me in the far end of the classroom, but a shadow that fell on the wall definitely belonged to a girl with a violin. The movements of her bow were so graceful that I felt like I was getting carried away on the waves of music. My heart broke the barrier of my ribcage and started hopping around. Faster and faster, I jumped on snow piles, gliding between the pines towards the fiery sun above the windfall. Ayah! Got tired of waiting? I was so deep in thought I didn't hear the approaching footsteps. After bathing in music, Paulina felt even more magical. Oh, no, not really. I was just thinking about my comic. For some unknown reason, I lied. You draw comics? Yeah, well, I mean, I want to draw one. Oh. And what will it be about? Dinosaurs? About the most charming and kind girl that plays the violin who somehow happened to be in this house of horror. About a fox? Oh, I mean, about talking animals who help children who get lost to return home from the woods. And then they dance in the night. Wow. Sounds interesting. Did you come up with it yourself? I lowered my gaze. I got inspiration from looking out the window. Nightly vows. Aw. We descended to the first floor. I opened the door in front of Paulina. Dad told me how essential it is to be a gentleman. So you're an artist, huh? I had a hunch you were different. Special. Are you joking? Me? I'm absolutely average. Semyon is the average one. An average idiot. And you carrying something kind of fluffy inside. Something barked near my leg when we were crossing the schoolyard, interrupting Paulina. Eek! Don't worry, it's just Sulka. Oh, the dog. I stood on one knee and rubbed the barking dog behind the ear. It was frantically wagging its tail like it was some sort of propeller. I looked around the yard, trying to find Alyssa. But the fox girl was nowhere to be found, neither in the yard nor on the road. Leave it be. It's a stray, you know. What if it has pests? No, this one has an owner, I think. Paulina looked at the playful dog with disgust, covering her mouth with a handkerchief. I made the wrong choice. Do you have any food on you? I think I have something left. We'll feed it and go, alright? She took out a sandwich of her bag, threw it to Zulka. The little dog rushed to her banquet, swept away the bread with her nose, and started eating the bologna. What a picky eater. Come on, eat everything. Paulina tugged my sleeve, egging me on. Hey, what's wrong? She replied with laughter. The violin girl had literally dragged me out of the school gate, stifling laughs into a fist. I turned around. Why is she just randomly laughing like that? Zulka followed us with sad eyes as we were leaving. The dogs looked especially lonely with the school as the backdrop. And then Paulina just stopped laughing. She walked alongside me with a blank stare, completely silent. Her remark turned out pretty harsh. Was it really the stray dog's fault she had to live in the street? They always attack people later. A pack of these almost killed my grandpa last winter. That's horrible. He's paralyzed now. He will never be able to walk again. I remember the scary pack of dogs that was chasing me just a while ago. I'm sorry. It's okay. Paulina showed me another enchanting smile, her eyes half closed. What matters is that we understand each other now. I forgot all about Zulka after she said that. Some third graders were throwing snowballs at each other and singing, 3, 4, 5, the owl will arrive. The owl? Oh yeah. An image of my sister sitting near the window, bored, looking for me in the twilight, flashed before my eyes. I promised myself that I will go home as soon as I escort Paulina. What's the song these kids are singing? It's the second time I hear it today. We were walking down the main street. Somewhere near, a tractor was grumbling, cleaning snowdrifts. Ravens flew across the ashen sky. A flock of blackbirds circled above us like scary crosses that ran away from graves. The owl one? It's just a local nursery rhyme. Grandpa used to sing it to me when I was little. He's very knowledgeable about local history and folklore. And what does that rhyme sound like? Listen. She started walking backwards, facing me and smiling. 1, 2, time to play with you. 3, 4, 5, the owl will arrive. 6 on end, the wolf's gray fur will stand. 7, 8, stomp your hooves and wait. For the fox and for the bear, bunny, tasty meals prepare. I thought that I'd already met a fox this morning. Thankfully, I hadn't met any wolves or bears. As I was looking at the girl by my side, I became strangely brave, so I said something unexpected. You have a beautiful voice. Paulina adjusted her hair, slightly embarrassed. Thanks. And is that the end of the rhyme? Did the bunny prepare those meals? Who knows? Nobody will be able to tell you now. It's really old. I'd say ancient. There's a legend related to it, though. Want me to tell you? Of course. All sorts of tribes had lived in the taiga back in the day. Grandpa told me they had this initiation. Well, some sort of rite when a boy was ready to become a man. I listened closely. I mean, I was also really close to that age myself. They would lead him into the woods where he needed to spend 3 days hunting. There's a legend about a young man who went into the taiga and never returned. And then suddenly came back when they already stopped looking for him. He was covered in scratches, dirty, and cold. I imagined sleeping among the pines and bear lairs. His family rushed to help him, but he just fell unconscious. They brought a shaman. He looked at the young man and his face became grim. He told him that he was in bad shape. The young man convulsed until the morning, repeating that rhythm over and over again. Oh, rhyme, sorry. Over and over. 1, 2, time to play with you, as if Taiga itself was whispering it to him. And then the sun came out. He died. But the shaman said that he was already dead when he returned. He came out of the woods as a living corpse and whispered that rhyme with his dead lips. I froze in fear. Are you sure it's not some horror movie? Folklore can be way scarier than movies, believe me. Grandpa said that this tribe just uprooted in a hurry and left for the south. They must have been brave. If they lived here. Paulina kicked one of the snow piles with her small boot. Brave, but stupid. Did they need a corpse to appear from the forest for them to understand? Understand what? That they needed to get out of here? There's this... There's the big world. And then there's our village. The world, she spread her arms wide. The village. She showed a distance that was almost invisible with her two fingers. I often imagine big cities. I can look at the globe for hours, or at around the world magazines from the library. They have such pretty names. Just listen. I will respect the language and I will not butcher that. I will not butcher that either. Music to my ears. She started circling her eyes shut dreamingly. The forest towered before us, touching the low clouds. The road fell into the semi-dark between the trees. I've conquered the stage, performing in front of thousands, and I have stage fright. Oh, you'll get famous another way, by drawing. We both have a future, but what about, say, Semyon? He may just get fatter, and he'll be selling piroski? Yeah, made from dogs. I don't know what that is. We burst out laughing, exercising worry from our minds with light-hearted fun. If somebody will ever trust him with selling them. Oh, you're right. He can probably eat a whole lot of them in one go. Like I thought, the forest is less scary when you're not alone. I looked around. The snow was sparkling, reflecting the last rays of the setting sun. My pulse fastened from the thought that we were alone. Yes, you were right. And then something comes from the bushes and oh. Suddenly, I hear nearby bushes rustling, spilling snow in the ravine. A giant man walked from them, fastening a zipper on his pants. I recognized him. He was in the schoolyard this morning. He gave us an indifferent look and just walked away. What a shady guy. It's so good that you're here with me, Anton. Who knows what this thug would have done if you weren't by my side? I'm pretty sure he just went to take a piss. But okay. She gave me a look full of admiration. And when the big man had almost disappeared behind a tree, she stuck out her tongue at him and laughed. Such a little rascal. Polina rushed through the fire break. Don't fall behind. I never fall behind. You know, the way you speak. Just like a hero from adventure books. Was she complimenting me or mocking me? Probably both. I didn't want to look for the hidden meaning, not when we're on such a wonderful walk. I mean, I like books. Oh, a well-read man. Intriguing. I'm not looking at the background to see if there's anything else I can click on. A man, really. I got embarrassed and my cheeks turned beet red, but I still thanked fate for being able to wander around the forest with Polina like this. The girl suddenly stopped and started silently into the darkening thicket, as if waiting for something. I felt uneasy all of a sudden, and then she asked me in a cold voice, "Have you been there?" "Where? Deep in the woods?" Polina burst out laughing again, shattering my anxious thoughts. "No, silly. In the big world. In cities with musical names. Does Moscow sound musical to you? To me, it sounds like the croaking of a frog." To me, it sounds like the croaking of a frog. You've been to Moscow? Yeah, when I was little. Polina's eyes started sparkling. What's it like? Well, it's beautiful. Noisy. Neon lights everywhere. Neon lights. I felt like she was savoring those words. Have you been to the Red Square? Of course. What's the Red Square? It's so bumpy? I've been to Sum, and what is that? Central Universal Department Store, one of the biggest department stores in Europe, situated in downtown Moscow. It was founded in 1885 as I didn't. After the Soviet Revolution, the store was nationalized and given its contemporary name. I just scratched my arm and I scratched the tattoo. God damn it. Exhibition of Achievements of National Economy, the second biggest exhibition complex in Moscow. Its president is the top 50 biggest European exhibition centers list. 49 architectural pieces on the complex territory are considered cultural heritage monuments. Oh, cool. I love the metro the most. It smelled like... Like what? She ran up to me, grabbed me by the sleeve, and stared into my eyes with clear interest. I can't describe it. And can you draw it? What, a smell? Great musicians can play smells. You're lying. I'll give you the cassette later. She started twirling in the falling snow again. I'll definitely go to Moscow. But first to Vienna. It's my dream. The capital of music. Mozart, Beethoven, Strauss. Philharmonic Orchestra. National Opera. I'll be performing and you drawing. Her enthusiasm spread to me. I wanted to do something, right this moment. And where do you want to go? I sighed and confessed. To Disneyland. I remembered the Finest Hour show again. Olya preferred Call of the Jungle, but I always spend my Mondays in front of the TV. Colorful tables with numbers on signs and a charming Mr. Suponev at the wheel. And the prizes. Chocolate eggs, video equipment, and the most exciting one, a trip to Disneyland for the winner. My parents promised to take me there to the land of the mouse, and I believed them at first. Well, maybe they also believed it back then. Now they just reply with silence every time I ask about it, and it saddens me to no end. I have just 3 words on my mind in those moments. But you promised. Polina had seemingly read my mind. Getting there is easier than we think. Everybody has the power to mold their fate. She picked up 2 handfuls of snow, and then, as she forgot about everything, showed me a sly smile. Want to make a snowman? Sure. When I get back home, I'll make a snowman for Olya too. She'll be so happy. But for now... Aw. We were almost done with the first ball, rolling it shoulder to shoulder. The laughing was a little unsettling, no lie. Polina was laughing. Locks of her hair fell on her lively face. She was so cute and she blew them away. Is that supposed... Why is your ball so small? It'll only work as a head. Make it bigger. Don't be lazy. I couldn't remember the last time I had so much fun. Polina swept her now crimson lips. Did you ever wish to go to another planet? Something flashed in her eyes when she said that. I couldn't really put my finger on what it is. To another universe, even. Polina sighed and what felt like relief. Then you should understand me. Our palms glided across the ball of snow, straightening up any lumps it had. An almost ideal white ball rose up in the middle of the clearing. Then another one propped up. We lifted it up from 2 sides and placed it on the one that served as a foundation. Oh, look at that boy. Finally, Polina helped the 3rd ball to get to the top of the other one. Getting the head to the right place is what I do best. Do you by any chance have a carrot? Alas. There was no fear, no worry at this clearing. I became more daring, ran towards the thicket to crack a couple of branches. I pulled at the intertwining windfall, but Polina's voice suddenly awakened me from my delusion. Anton, someone's standing there. Or... I turned around, puzzled. Polina was looking at me, no, at something behind my back. She stared at it, her brows furrowed. Not a single trace was left of the cheerful atmosphere we had moments ago. Polina? She slowly raised her hand and pointed at the darkness that was approaching the trees in the distance. Someone is standing there, a crooked silhouette, see? Rubbing the pine with their huge hands. I turned around, directing my eyes where she was pointing to. The area around the dry raspberry bushes was empty. There's nothing here. It hid, behind the tree. The collar of my coat felt suffocating. I pulled on it instinctively. I felt a spasm in my stomach. I think she's fucking with you. I smiled weakly and asked, hoping for a good answer. Is this a prank? Polina seemingly lost all her words. She just continued staring deep into the endless forest. Bravery check, I thought, so I stepped towards the glossy black trunk, Polya's gaze pushing me in the back. I was trying to muster all of my courage, but my inner voice was telling me to stop, to curl into a ball, to play dead even. Anything but go there into the withering darkness. Isn't it gonna be the bully, probably? The twilight was sucking me in, limiting my vision. The clearing was a deep well, its walls prohibiting the sunlight from reaching its bottom. I heard the air ring, or was it ringing in my ears? One step, Two-step. I bit my lip to stop myself from screaming if anything happened. That never works for me. There was nobody behind the pine. I sighed. And turned back to Polina, who ditched you. Did she just fucking ditch? Yup. Figured. Yo. From the darkness behind the pines, just like the cavemen from their cave, appeared smirking Semyon with a bunch of his croonies. Great. And who do we have here? Check out this four-eyes freak. Polina let out a shriek when the bastards shoved her away from me. They surrounded me like a carnivorous pride, making me step back. Oh no, the snowman. The boy is dead. The balls we rolled crumbled, became a mushy mess, with just a single broken branch poking out. Polina gasped angrily. I also felt a touch of scalding hatred. The smell of sweat and tobacco attacked my nostrils. The inside of my mouth felt salty, as if I'd licked a battery. Polina, don't be scared. I shuddered after hearing my own voice. It sounded unnatural, rough, and scary. Why would she be scared? Worry about yourself. The fatso spit through the gap in his teeth and pushed me so hard that I hit my back against a tree. Well? Piss your pants, sucker? I heard Polina's angry voice from behind. Stay away from him. It would have been better if Polina wasn't around. I wish you wouldn't see me in such a shameful position. Look at this, guys. A girl is defending him. Yeah, what a fucking wimp. You fucked with the wrong guy, transfer student. Samuel was moving towards me, readying his fist. At that moment, the other delinquent in track pants made a loud whistle, and the hulking boy lowered his hands. It was unexpected. Seems like Barbin wasn't the leader of this gang. In reality, they were all listening to the boy who was looking like a small carnivore with very strong and sharp teeth. They decided against hitting me. They probably wanted to humiliate me in front of the girl first. Damn it. And then I noticed a little kid beside my legs, trembling from the cold, snow plastered all over its fur. It probably ran all the way from the schoolyard, searching for a smell. The delinquent squatted in front of the dog and beckoned it with his hand. Oh no. They better not hurt the dog. No, no. Then I noticed something strange. Polina could hardly keep herself from smiling. Does she really hate dogs so much that she thinks the skinny guy did amused her? After locking eyes with me, she changed her jubilant smirk to a thoughtful grimace. Why isn't she running away? I thought in horror. At the edge of my vision, I saw something flash in the illusory twilight of the sleeping forest. Or were that just bushes moving their icy branches in the wind? I don't know. Can I click on it? Oh. Should I have gone to Foxgirl? The dog would not have gotten hit if I went with Foxgirl. Where did all of my inner strength and bravery go? Stop. A wheezy whisper left my lips and my head tilted forward, hitting Semyon's fist. Red sparks flew from my eyes. They're going to gang up on me and beat me up. Ah. Sorry, but the boys need to sort this out man to man. And you just stand beside and watch. Give me a hand. Semyon gave me a rough push towards the bastard with the slanting eyes and he tripped me. I fell on the sharp crust of ice and the fastest stepped on my hand, preventing me from getting up. A painful groan escaped my throat. Did you hear him whimper? Is he actually You're stepping on his hand. My ear was hot and pulsating pain was shooting through it like it was cut off and a ball of nettle was sewn in its place. Why so silent, Antoshka? Come on, tell us. At that moment I felt pure unbridled rage. The amalgamation of my anger. Like the sprout's ink, it rose up from the depths of my mind, filling all my thoughts. Morons, did you know that my dad? Semyon burst out laughing. This became the last straw. Fear and anger were grappling inside me like mad dogs. He knows Aikido? Got it. And he's a vet. He'll kill the likes of you with his eyes closed. One word from me and he'll... Romka lifted up his arm, stomping my torment of lies, and made a couple of steps forward. Semyon slowly backed off, giving me an opportunity to stand up. Pines were swaying back and forth like solemn guardians. Did he believe me? No. Or was he confused by my face twisted with rage? A vet, you say? My dad also fought in the war. An Afghan. And yours? Mine too. Oh really? And what force did he serve in? I stumbled. Fear chomped at my rage's throat and made it bleed. He's full of shit, Ramka. Sure as fuck. Do you think I'm so easy to trick? I can see through all your lies. There was a nasty smile on his face now. This didn't bode well for me. Well, you've asked for this. A teacher saved you at school, but here... What is this? Yo. Okay. Okay. Blood was pumping at my temples. Roma, please stop them. You've proved your point. Let us go. You can go anytime. I will take out the trash in the meantime. What bugged me at this point wasn't even the humiliating attitude from Bronca, but rather how sweet Polina had addressed him. The delinquents were pushing the girl towards the pines. Branches were swaying back and forth as if whispering something, giving me hope. I gritted my teeth, fighting the thought that I looked silly, and took a boxing stance I often saw in the movies. What are you, fucking Mike Tyson? This was my first ever fight. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, if I don't kick the bucket, of course. At the edge of my vision, I noticed the darkness wither again, as if someone was walking back and forth there. Where? I sensed Roma's claw grab my backpack. Give me your shit, Antoshka. It'll get in the way. I was about to refuse, unwilling to cooperate with the bastard, but then he fished out a butterfly knife out of his pocket with one smooth motion, spun it as if showing off, and put the blade to my neck. I let out a cloud of steam instead of words. Roma pulled with all his might, and my backpack ended up in his hands. Polina shrieked. Romka winked at her as if saying, "Don't worry, I've got this." Calm and relaxed. An insidious smile on his face, he looked into my backpack. Are you hiding something from us? Some rats stole my school shoes. And what's this? Roma gave me a dubious smile. So what do we have here? My text and notebooks fell in snow. He was holding my backpack in one hand and something weird in the other. It looked like... a mask. Roma lifted it high as if showing to someone else, to someone in the treetops in the twilight among the trees. An old bunny mask. Long worn-out ears, barely visible nose and whiskers, mangy fur on the sides. Where did it come from? Who put it there? Semyon laughed. It's way past New Year's, moron. Or are you really a loony? It's not mine. How come it's not? It was in your backpack. Romka was watching the scene unfold with an evil smile on his face. Savages, is this the first time you see a mask? As shitty as this? Yeah. You know what? Put it on. Why? Because I'm telling you to. You'll hop like a bunny for us. Yeah, come on. Or we'll leave you pantsless. Not when Polina is here. I won't. Sioma, put it on him. Did Fox Girl put the mask in his backpack? I looked around the pine woods, as if waiting for help, as if the shadows that withered around us would take pity on me and take my side. Branches looked like arms, twisted in unusual angles. Black on the bark was their charred skin, and the darkness was the smoke they produced. I can't run, won't get away, they'll catch me. And then... No, I won't run, won't abandon Polina. Let me warn you. If he won't hop, you'll take his place, got it? This piece of shit won't. Just look at him, he's a total loony. This loony had already smacked you in the face. Romka's right. Come on, assert your dominance. Or we'll make you hop so hard your piggy tits will fall off. He must indeed be scared of Romka. Samuel swore silently and glared first at me, then at Polina. Here. It'll fit better this way. Ew. He hurled a huge ball of spit on the inside of the plastic bunny face and put it close to mine. His spit looked like a squashed spider. Romka's face twisted. He spasmed like a beast, like he wanted to tell Semyon something, but then he suddenly stopped. Polina covered her face with her hands in terror. Semyon was still close by, with a disgusting smirk on his face and a terrible smell coming from his mouth. Put it on fast, or you're dead. The mask almost looked even more disgusting now, yet despite everything, I felt like it was a chance for salvation. It could become my second skin. If only I was to put it on, if only my face was to touch its bumpy surface, I'm sure the fur will glitter, their ears will tremble like they're alive. I just need to put it on, and Semyon and his friends will be gone. Forever. But the spit! I don't know which one I want to do, because I kind of... He feels like, okay, if you put it on, there's a chance for salvation, cool. I kind of want them to tell... I want to tell him to fuck off, so he puts the bunny thing on and rocks around and hops around and shit. But I'm also petty as fuck, and the whole reason we're in this mess to begin with is because I decided to fight. So I may not be the best person to judge what should be happening. But I'm over time for the episode I just saw. So I'll end it here. Next episode starts right off here. And we'll see what we'll do. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it for like a little bit, take a break, and then come back and record the next episode. I don't like any of this. I like the game. I don't like these kids. They probably need like some discipline at home. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't be able to handle this peacefully. But yeah, that's it for this episode. If you want to know when I upload next, you can subscribe, turn on the notification, and you'll know when I upload the next video in this series or any other video. In the description, you'll find a link to the game and to my socials as well. I'm very active on Instagram, so if you want to follow there, that's nice as well. But yeah, I'll see you around, and until the next episode.